Hi, welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. A couple of days ago I did a video showing you how to make a lanyard that you could put pens into or your glasses and hang your ID card or a set of keys at the bottom. Now, I've really loved seeing what everybody's done on Facebook. We have a Facebook group and all the viewers get to share whatever it is they make when I've posted a video. So I really love seeing that. But somebody this morning did actually, or a couple of people have mentioned they'd like a bigger pocket, and they've tried a couple of different ways to get a little bit of a bigger pocket in the top of their lanyard. So I had this brainwave this morning. I've only been awake for half an hour or so, so I'm hoping this works out okay. And I'm going to show you how to make this lanyard. This is the one we did the other day, and it's got a little pocket at the top here. And what you'll do is pop your glasses or a pen in there, and where's my pen? And on the other side you can pop your pen, and you can wear that around your neck. So the one we're going to do today is going to have a larger area at the top, and let's hope it works out. Come and join me. This time we're going to use two pieces of fabric again, but they're slightly different in size. This one here is one whole strip of fabric from the full width of your normal quilting fabric, which is about 112 centimetres or 44 inches. 1 or 2 inches here or there doesn't really matter, as long as you've got the correct width. And the width of this is 3 inches or 7.5 centimetres. This smaller piece here is 12 inches in length, which is 30 centimetres, by 3.5 inches in width, which is 9 centimetres. I've also got a couple of snaps. So instead of closing this one permanently at the top end, we're going to put some plastic snaps. If you have those quick release buckles, you could use that as well. I don't have any, so I'm going to go with this. And I have a swivel clip. Now, the swivel clip, or my fabric size, really depends on the width of my swivel clip. So I'm using a 2 centimetre or 20 millimetres, which is about 3/4 of an inch on the inside. So when my fabric is folded in 4, I need that to fit inside that clip. So if you're using a much bigger clip, then cut your fabric wider and cut this one 1/2 inch wider again. I'll set those aside for the moment. What we want to do is take our smaller piece and fold that in half and press it. Once you've pressed that, fold it in half the other way and press that on the fold here. And then we want to fold in the short ends. So we just want 2 very narrow folds. And press that one, and you'll do the same here. So I'm not even measuring this. This is just a very narrow fold. If you need a measurement, it's probably 1/4 inch or 1/2 centimetre. So there you go. Double fold at the end, single fold in the middle, and a single fold in the middle here. Too easy, right? With the longer piece of fabric, we're going to fold the fabric in half and iron that all the way down. Then what you're going to do is bring the raw edges into the centre, just like you're creating a handle for a bag. Fold this edge in as well, and then you'll fold that in again. So that'll be the finished size of your lanyard strip. So we'll press that all the way along. What you also need to do, because we're putting a snap on the end, is fold this edge over just once. So this one we did twice, this one we're folding once. So you fold that over, fold those edges in half, and that's enclosed the raw edges, and then fold that over again. And that's how it will close up later. You'll do that at both ends. You also want to fold your fabric in half and find the centre over here. So I will mark that. So once you've folded everything and got all your creases in place, take this little piece here and with both short edges stitch along the folded edges. I'll quickly go and do that and I'll be right back. So I've sewn along the top edge there just to give this a nice neat edge. Find the center of your long piece of fabric and I've marked that right along the middle there, and this piece here I've made a couple of marks there and you can see the crease right along the center. And you can't see the crease here, but this is the center crease in the fabric. So what I'm going to do now is place this over the top. So I want to line up this line and this line, but this center line here needs to be lined up with that center crease. So lay that over the top there. You can use the edge of your fabric to line up with the crease in your fabric. We'll pop a pin in place just for the moment. At this end here, I'm lining up that crease with the crease in the red fabric, and I'll just pin the center as well. Okay, so you can see we've got the green piece of fabric is about 1/4 of an inch wider than the red one. Now we're going to take the green and line it up with the raw edge of the red one. Start from the center and work your way along to the top of the fabric. There we go. And this side will do the same. So just turn that around. Line up that center. And all the other raw edges. And now what we're going to do is just sew right along this long edge here and this long edge here. And that will secure the outside edges of the pocket in place. We'll do this shortly. Now I'm not using 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. I'm just going to sew really close to the outside edge. This is just to secure those layers so that we can do the next step. And we'll do the other side. Okay, so we've sewn the outside edges just to secure this green piece of fabric. So we've got the center pinned to the center fold of this fabric. And now we're going to create some pleats. And if you remember, we've got that fold, and then we've got the other folds. So the first fold that we have here, which is really difficult to see on this fabric, I keep picking the wrong fabric, and we have the other fold over this side. Push the green over to the center so that it creates a pleat in the middle there, and where we've made that mark on the fold of the fabric, we're going to pop a pin just in there. This is just to hold the pleat in place. And from this side we're going to do the same. Push the fabric in toward the center, and I'll place a pin on that fold. On the other side we will do the same. I have my fold marked there and here. Push the fabric toward the center again and place the pin in on the fold, and over this side as well. So what will happen now is that you're going to have plenty of room for a pen over this side and this side, and you can make it even bigger by making a wider piece of fabric. Find something with a straight edge so that you can line this fold and this fold up. And I'll pop a pin in here, and same over here. So now we have a pleat in the middle here and another one here. And if you feel like one's bigger than the other, which it looks like here, so now we have a channel here and here. All I'm going to do is pinch that together and push it down. And along here I'll do the same, just pinch it together in the center, push the fabric down to make a little pleat, and then we're going to sew straight across here. So I've lined my needle up with the center of the fabric, or that center fold. I'll sew straight across and just create that pleat in the middle on both sides of the center. Of course, you want to remove your pins as you go. Okay, so that's given us a little pleat in our pen pockets. At this end here, where the center is, all I want to do is just sew a couple of stitches right in the middle. And that's it, just basically tacking the center. And at this end I'll do the same. Let's remove those pins. So we have a channel over here, which this is not the size of the finished pen holder, and we have one here as well. Now we can place our fabric edges together. So raw edge into the center, along here as well. So we're now going over our original creases. Fold the fabric over again and line up that center. And you'll do this all the way across now. So the reason for securing these fabric edges was so that we could fold this much more easily. Fold your short edge over, and then we can fold the edges into the center. And again, we can clip that together at the top, and we'll stitch this closed shortly. And we'll repeat for the other end. Fold that back in again and secure that top edge, and then the rest of it. When you're doing the fold at the top section here, remember that we've kept this nice and flat, so you want to keep that flat up to the edge of that fold. You can just put a clip in there to hold that in place. Same over here. You don't want the fabric sticking out on the side. Fold that over. And then once you've got those edges neatly folded over, you can bring the edges together and clip that in place. Same on this side. Just push the fabric over so you can line it up with the fold in the red fabric. I must say this is a little bit fiddlier than the original version. What we'll do now is sew all the way down this long edge here. You can do your short ends as well, and then come down the other side, but you're going to stop right here where the fabric changes. So you want to stop your work here and don't stitch this side of the green, and then you can just keep sewing along the other side. So all we're doing is closing up those folds, and you want to sew really close to the outside edge as well. You want to leave as much room for a pen as you possibly can. So along these folded edges here, we will be closing that up. When you get to the end, rotate and come back down the other side. And we're going to stop just before the green. Go back to the other end, sew across the short edge. And we'll finish before the green. Whilst we're over at the machine, we can grab our swivel clip, place the fabric through there, and bring the clip all the way down to the centre where we've sewn that pleat. Fold the fabric in half and line up the pockets along the top, and if it's misaligned you can just align that one and then centre that swivel clip at the bottom, and we're going to sew close to the bottom edge here. And that's the sewing finished. All right, so we have that secured. We have a looser area for our pens, and we can put our snaps on. So in the previous video, I actually did this in one continuous loop. I stitched the ends together and put the swivel clip in first, but today we'll do this so that it can be popped open. Bring the fabric together at the top, and we are going to poke a hole. I've got the fold of the seam along here, so I'm going to come down a little bit further to make it easier for my snaps to go through. Poke a hole through all of those layers, and I've got my fabric lined up. I'm going to put my end cap at the top, grab the other side and pop that on and squeeze that together. So for the other side, I want that to sit over the top here, so that means the end cap needs to come from the underneath. It's not the end of the world if it's twisted. So there we go, bring that together, and you have a little snap at the top, so it's easily pulled apart in lieu of one of those quick release clips. And then you can put your pen or your scissors, or you don't want to put your scissors. You might want to hang your scissors from the swivel clip. You can hang your keys down there, but you'll be able to get a wider pen in here now than you could in the previous version. So you can pop a couple of pens in there if you like, or I'm wearing my glasses, or you could put your glasses in there as well. And there's even enough room on the back where you might want to put another pen. So it gives you a little bit of extra room. So if you want an even bigger pocket on the top here, cut this fabric another 1/2 inch wider, and then just line up all those folds the same way, and you'll get a much bigger pocket there. Okay, what do you think? So this time around, instead of having the lanyard closed at the top, we've got a snap that will come apart easily. This pops over your head, and then we've got a nice easy slot for a larger pen to go into. If you want a Sharpie, you'll have to make it even bigger. And I've got my glasses in on this side, and I've got another pen in on the other side. So just by adding a little pleat at the fold and making the contrast fabric a little bit wider and doing a few fiddly bits, you can make a little bit more room at the top. You can make a lot more room at the top if you wanted to use a wider lanyard as well, and then you would use a wider swivel clip. So by doing that, that'll overcome some of the space issues that you might have at the top as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I was just reading the posts on Facebook this morning for the people that had been making theirs after seeing my video the other day, and I thought, oh yes, that's what I'm going to do very quickly this morning. And I didn't really have much of a plan, but I think it worked out okay. Yeah, you could definitely make it bigger, or a bigger pocket, by making your fabric or the contrast fabric a little bit wider. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've got to get to work, and I shall catch you next time. Bye for now.